All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Hope you guys had a good winter. I sure did. I took a few weeks off and now we're fully back in action at the farm here. It's early spring and come inside, check it out. So we had a great winter at the farm. There's a lot of vegetables that we overwinter and I wanted to show you the greenhouse, let you know what's up. So come on, I'll show you what's going on. So we're about last week of March and last week we transplanted our tomatoes and so these will be in for the whole year. You can really see the technique here. We grow them on, it's one plant with two heads growing on a string. They're at really early stage here, but they're looking really good. And this is really what's exciting. These are the celeries that we grow here at the farm, and celeries are an amazing winter crop. They overwintered all year long. Where we transplanted them, it was early September, I think late August, and we harvested a lot before Christmas. And then, January and February, there wasn't much growth happening, but since March, they've just been kind of booming. And the technique is fairly simple. We harvest a couple of branches every week on each of the plants, and then we bunch them. And they're really amazing. Celery is just these crops that they're real money makers. There's a lot of tricks to learn how to grow them well, but one thing about them is that they're not so susceptible to the low light conditions of the winter. They kind of keep growing, but they kind of need to be above frost. So the thermostat here is set just above frost level. So we have cold nights, warmer nights, hot days, but they look great. They look super good. There's about 12 vegetables that we grow during the winter, but there's up to about 30 that we could grow. We choose some that are chefs like most. Celery is one of them. Another one that people don't know as much is Claytonia. Miner's lettuce, some people call it. This is a definite workhorse of winter farming. It's an amazing little green. It's really tender, it's really sweet, and it's really beautiful. These are kind of going to seed now because we're heating the house for the tomatoes. But we had, 4 harvests ever since they were planted in early September. And so this crop is just amazing. Chefs love it. And it's not that complicated to grow and it gives a lot of yield. So this is one crop that we really like. This is gonna be one final harvest, probably tomorrow. And that's gonna be it. We're gonna rip it out and we're gonna put something else in. You can see that our strategy, growing tomatoes, they're indeterminate plants. It's one plant with 2 heads, so that saves a lot of the costs because these seeds are quite expensive. It could be up to $1 a seed. And eventually, they'll take up the whole space. And so we plant 1 out of 2 beds with the tomatoes, and that's the spacing that we use here. There's two real reasons for that. First of all, it gives enough space for the plants to really grow with both heads and leaves enough space for a small pathways, but it also gives us one free bed early spring or in the winter to grow between on the path. And so that's how we maximize space. So intercropping is a big part of our program here. We want to have, like, these were radishes that were just harvested last week. And these again were planted probably late October. They didn't do much during December, January, and February, but boom, early March they started to grow, and then 3 weeks later we're harvesting them. And then we're always the first for the chefs that we cater to. We bring them super amazing fresh vegetables that they don't have otherwise. And that's a big part of our strategy for winter farming. Trying to fill the niche, the gap that's not filled in the winter months. And you see here, I farm in Quebec. So Quebec is like just north of the Vermont border. It's pretty cold. So this is the last week of March here. There's still some snow, the ground is still frozen, and those greenhouses are really what makes it happen. In the big houses, we grow tomatoes, eggplants, bell peppers, cucumbers during the spring, summer months, and in fall and in winter, we want to put some frost-hardy crops because we either don't heat those houses at all or we heat them minimally. So it's a fine balance, there's a lot to know. So this is another one of our houses at FQT farm here. We had spinach all winter. These are kind of on their last miles, but now we planted some pole beans, and you can still see the bok choy that we're harvesting this week and next week. The heat was not on all winter, but when we put the beans on, then we turned up the heat. And that's the transition between having houses in the winter that are not heated, but that are heated in the spring and summertime for heat-loving crops. And for a lot of people, that's kind of weird that we heat in the summer and we don't heat in the winter, but that's really how we maximize production and profits. That's a big part of when you do the math. It's a lot more advantageous to put the heat in the summer when you can really get more yield, and in the winter months, because it's so cold, we bank on frost-hardy crops that can take frost, that can take low light conditions, and that can really grow. There's one other crop I want to show you. So this house were late greens that were just harvested, and then the beds were flipped, and now we're putting early squash in. We want to be the first at market with a big load of squashes with different colors. It's amazing at the market. And we also seeded potatoes. So you see our potatoes here, they're looking really good. These will be giving us really early fingerling potatoes that will sell at a really good price to chefs, and will be early June with some really nice potatoes here. And so all in all, the greenhouses are used 4 season long, 12 months out of the year, and a big part of our program is applying a lot of the principles of winter farming. Some that I've learned from others like Elliot and others that are really in that space, but a lot of things that we've developed here also at FQT Farm that we've been testing and trialing over many seasons. So it's really interesting, and that's what we're up to. So this is it for this week's video. I'm super stoked to be back, and I hope you liked it. It was a little tip off of what's going on here at the farm. Winter farming is such an amazing thing. If you guys want to learn more about winter farming, there's a little cheat sheet that you can get by connecting with us. You'll see the information's at the bottom of this YouTube. Otherwise, this is the kickoff to a brand new season, lots to show. We'll be showing you weekly what's going on here at the farm, people that I meet, and some of my universe. And so, hope you guys are into it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It gives us the signal that you guys are into it, and it gives me the motivation to share some of my worldviews and some of my knowledge. which is really what I'm passionate about. I hope you guys are well. I hope it'll get warm here soon. And if anything, I'll see you next week. JM out.